This is the Tigers Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Detroit Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, how about that? How long has it been since we had a nice kick your feet up and enjoy Tigers baseball, cruise to a win kind of night? And that's exactly what we had in game 2 of the 4-game set. Tigers all over the Minnesota Twins. Final score 7-0. We love a good shutout win. Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I'm your host, Jake Rietma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietma. It's a Friday night. The Tigers have won 4 of their last 5 games, and they continue to give us something to be excited about, to believe in a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about the easy victory and Charlie Morton. How about it? A nice little performance from him, 6 scoreless. And oh, by the way, the offense showed up early and often. As always, we'll have our biggest talking point, our turning point, and of course, our player of the game. So buckle up, dial it in. Thanks for staying up late with us on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. And as always, your comments are welcome. Let your voice be heard, as this is your home for post-game coverage of the Locked On Tigers Network, free and available wherever you get your podcast, and of course on YouTube. Make sure you like today's video and go ahead and subscribe and check out The Daily Show with Scott Bentley as well. I believe that covered everything, so why not get right into it? We begin where we always begin, our biggest talking point, and of course our biggest turning point, where the Tigers took control of this one early and often. Let's get into it. It's our talking point.
This is what you'll be talking about.
It had been far too long since this offense just jumped on an opposing pitcher and took control of the game and put the old snowball effect from the offense of passing the baton on to the next guy and so on and so forth. And that's exactly what we saw tonight. A 5-run first inning after a short delay to begin this game. And whether it was Kerry Carpenter, the fielder's choice to get things started, Colt Keith scoring. And yes, they took advantage of some Minnesota Twins mistakes, but Dillon Dingler, what a day for him. 3 runs batted in for the entirety of the contest. He had the single to center to begin the, well, not to begin, but a part of that first running onslaught of runs. And then McKinstry, good to see him getting back into it offensively. He had the single that scored Spencer Torkelson as well, and Javi Baez capping it off with kind of the kill shot there in that first inning. Even though McKinstry was thrown out at home on that play, you get the 5-run first inning and you're feeling really, really good about your team's chances. So I thought that was the biggest takeaway from today. And the subplot, we love a good subplot on a live Locked On Tigers postcast, Charlie Morton. And listen, I'm happy to be wrong. I am so happy to be wrong about some of the trade deadline acquisitions from this team. And listen, I'll always be transparent. I'll always try to be fair. And when I'm wrong, I'll call it like that. And so far, Scott Harris deserves some credit for the acquisition of Kyle Finnegan and, of course, Charlie Morton as well. Now, it hasn't been, smooth sailing for Charlie Morton for the entirety of his starts with the Tigers, but six scoreless innings tonight, 2 hits and 0 earned runs. He struck out 5. He did walk 3, but you're not going to get any complaints from me from that type of performance. So I'm not ready to crown Charlie Morton as an in-season acquisition, but at the same time, listen, I'm happy to have a dialogue about where maybe I was wrong about the value that Charlie Morton could bring as a starting pitcher. Again, I said it last night. I still think Troy Melton, or I said it 2 days ago in the day game, where Troy Melton is still this team's number 2 pitcher, which, again, as a division leading team, you would want to feel a little bit better about being in a playoff series and trotting out Troy Melton as your number 2 pitcher, but it is what it is type of thing. But again, at the same time, I'm going to be fair and I'm going to be honest, where Charlie Morton tonight looked like a very, very valuable in-season trade deadline acquisition. He deserves some credit there. So that being said, again, the offense showing up in a big way, taking control of this one early and often. 2 more runs in the 3rd. And in that 3rd inning, again, it was Dillon Dingler with the RBI double, scoring Spencer Torkelson, and Javi Baez with that sac fly. So anybody at the game, I know my grandparents were at the game. They've been doing the little Central Time Zone road trip. They were in Chicago and then made their way to Minnesota. Anybody else there? Let me know in the comments. I always love hearing when people are at the game supporting the Detroit Tigers. Again, from the broadcast, it sounded like there were some Tigers fans there as well tonight. I love Dan Dickerson on the call. I think that goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways. And just kind of a fun night. Again, I said it in the cold open. I'll say it again. How long has it been since we've had just a kick your feet up, enjoy Tigers baseball, see them cruise to victory, totally in control from start to finish? It had been far too long since we had a game like that, let's be honest. And at the same time, there's enough to, even while you've got your feet kicked up, because last night, I was pacing last night. I'm sure other people were pacing around last night in that extra innings thrilling game that ultimately saw the Tigers win. But to take the first two from the Twins, that's big after taking 2 of 3 from the White Sox and just continue to stockpile wins on wins on wins. So 4 out of the last 5, and all of a sudden you're starting to feel pretty good about the direction of this team. Let's get into some of those comments because I love hearing from everybody. And oh, by the way, a shutout. I know the Tigers were playing with the lead and in complete control for the entirety of this game because they scored 5 runs in the first inning, but you still have to give some credit to the bullpen guys for not taking the foot off the gas. And you look at the box score, obviously the 6 scoreless from Charlie Morton, Tommy Canley coming in and pitching a scoreless inning, Herder as well. And then how about Horn in the 9th inning getting that double play? Although, obviously you don't love having 2 guys on there, but gets the line drive, step on second, game over, and there you go. Jason Walter is up first. He says, great W, nice stress-free win. It's been a while. Literally, I did not even see that comment until now, but that's literally what I was saying, Jason Walter. So you and I on the same page, that's for sure. Kevin Jeffrey says, I think we are at the point to see if Max Anderson could be a better option than Trey Sweeney. Yeah, my grandfather and I actually were talking about that. He's in your same boat there, Kevin Jeffrey. My grandfather wants to see Max Anderson up with the big league club. I don't think it's going to happen, just being realistic. Trey Sweeney is who he is. And I guess if I'm remembering right, I'll go back to that series around July 4th, where you had the Tigers sweeping the Cleveland Guardians and Trey Sweeney with that huge home run in extra innings. And in my mind, my tiny little brain, that'll be the Trey Sweeney I remember. But yeah, let's be honest, another tough night for Trey Sweeney here. And thinking, he only had the one at bat as a pinch hitter, so let's not crucify him by any means, but I understand wanting to see Anderson as opposed to what we feel like is pretty well proven in the sense that he's probably not a big league player in Trey Sweeney. Demetrius McNeil is up next. What a night for the Tigers. 5-run first inning. Charlie pitched 6 shutout innings. Win number 72 on the season. My major question, who on earth is going to beat the Brewers who won another game? Yeah, I try not to get too caught up in that. Obviously, following the league as a whole, you're going to notice when a team is on a tear like the Brewers are. And for the Tigers' concern, you would only see them in a postseason series in the World Series. And at that point, you get to the World Series, anything can happen. So I hear you, Demetrius, but I'm certainly not contemplating or wondering that as my head hits the pillow on a nightly basis of who's going to beat the Brewers. That's the National League problem. And if you get to the World Series, then okay, we'll talk about it then. All right. Kevin Jeffrey says Cleveland was losing. Great night. Let's go ahead and do a quick little check on the Cleveland Guardians. I always love doing that. It is final. There we go. We love that. It is a final. The Braves hold on for a 2-0 win to beat the Guardians. So you gain a full game. Great stuff there because we are in the scoreboard watching season, and I love that. Sean Gray says, finally, a nice relaxing win. I think we're all on board with that. Horn got lucky in the bottom of the 9th. I'm not giving up any runs. He could barely throw any strikes. I said the same thing. I was watching it and I was playing out potential circumstances in my head. Okay, how did the Tigers save the shutout here? And obviously a double play was one thought. I did not expect line drive to shortstop, step on second for the force out, but hey, that's what you got. And you'll take it because the shutout is preserved. And most importantly, you knew the Tigers were going to win that game, of course, but there's something to be said about holding the opposition to a big fat goose egg on the scoreboard. Braylon Dennis says glad Canley held his own. He did. And I don't know if I'm the only one in this. Maybe I'm alone. There's plenty of times where I am alone in a thought. So it wouldn't be the first, probably won't be the last either. But I just think like, okay, it's the Minnesota Twins. And yes, they took 2 of 3 at Comerica very recently. But at the same time, they sold their whole team. The owners won't sell the team. There's so much turmoil in Minnesota. Like, I don't want to put too much stock into Tommy Kahnle shutting down an anemic Minnesota Twins offense for an inning. But again, we've needed to see something from Tommy Kahnle, and we did tonight. Skip with some nice positivity here. This is from Skip Gadberry. They will choke soon. There you go. He also goes on to say, huge fan. All right. I love that from Skip, keeping it real. Jim and Denise, 20 games over 500. Indeed. Love that. And there's Braylon Dennis with the all caps. I love it. Atlanta beat Cleveland. Great stuff there. As always, your comments are so appreciated on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Let's take one quick break and be back with our player of the game and our turning point. And we tie a bow on it and look ahead to tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. It's a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by our good friends over at 5 Hour Energy. That's right. Let me go ahead and get you over to 5 Hour Energy because it's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse favorite you love without ever leaving the green. And you know what? The only craziest thing I've experienced on the golf course, worse than not having enough energy, is slicing one into the woods. That is the absolute worst and it happens far too often. But I know if I'm feeling down, I've got that 5 Hour Energy to boost it right back up. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5 Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or even having to chase down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Today's episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is also brought to you by our good friends over at Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth. How embarrassing. Whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data, visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet, which is great because I don't know how to use Microsoft Excel. I've linked all my accounts to Monarch Money and immediately spotted a few subscriptions I wasn't even using. Easy cancellation, save some bucks. That's how Monarch Money helps you. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKDOWNMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKDOWNMLB. That's code LOCKDOWNMLB. All right. Player of the game in this one, as well as our turning point. Let's do that now. After the Tigers cruise to a 7-0 win over the Minnesota Twins, it's time for the turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I think we all know we're going with that first inning because that's where the game turned, and it never resumed any type of competitive balance because the Twins didn't have it tonight and the Tigers did. And I hate to minimize one of our favorite segments here on a live Locked On Tigers postcast, but I'm not going to insult anyone either. The game turned when the Tigers scored 5 runs in that first inning, and you love to see it because so many times, and we've talked about the Tigers' success when they're able to score first and have the lead after the first inning, but not all leads after the first inning are created equal. A 5-0 lead is absolutely absolutely enormous. Sorry, I couldn't talk there for a second because I was so excited thinking about the Tigers having a 5-run lead after the first inning. So that's where this game turned. Credit to the entire offense being ready to go. How about our player of the game?
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I sometimes cringe when I do this, so bear with me, but there's 2 guys that are equally deserving of it. One's a pitcher, one's a position player. Bear with me a little bit, right? We'll go with Dillon Dingler for our position player of the game. 3 runs batted in, called a whale of a game behind the plate as well. And Charlie Morton, 6 innings, scoreless, just the 3 hits allowed. I mentioned it in the open. I still feel that way, that, hey, he's starting to prove me and a lot of people wrong that maybe he really is a valuable arm that was added at the trade deadline. So shout out to both those guys, our players of the game tonight. R1VJ4 agrees with me. 5-run first inning is the turning point. And speaking of, there's my grandmother, Mary Jo Isaacson. Tigers win again. They were at the game. They've been on the Chicago to Minnesota road trip because they're crazy dedicated fans, and that's what we love about them. Rufus T. Cat, love that guy, says, what a night to be a cat. Everybody. Okay, I won't sing, but you get the idea. Tigers win again. 7-0. They cruise to an easy win over the Minnesota Twins. They've taken the first 2 games of the series. And how about the Tigers going for a series win tomorrow? They can go for 3 straight over the Twins. Casey Mize on the bump. It is a 7:15 Eastern time first pitch. Zebby Matthews will go for the Minnesota Twins. We'll be live immediately following the conclusion of that game. Love it. And again, I call these nights like tonight our kick your feet up, enjoy Tigers baseball kind of night. It had been way too long since we had one of those nights. We had it tonight. The Tigers win, and they've won 4 of their last 5. Let's go for a series win tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to be on the air with you. Make sure you like today's video, subscribe, check out Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley, and we'll talk to you next time on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Good night, everybody.